Just as well I'm leaving then, isn't it?
What?
Johnson's offered me a place in his regional crime squad. I've accepted. It means...
You lied to me. Forget Will, forget the case. You lied to me,
Please!
No!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Wednesday night discussion. Of course, Life Born of Fire. Never tire of watching those two scenes from The Way Through the Woods and of course Life Born of Fire. They're just, yeah, very, very good. It's just, it's interesting a little bit in the clip from Life Born of Fire. I've noticed it before and it's quite a strange little thing. Just let me just show it. I'll get it up again. I'll just get this up just to show you what I'm talking about. Because it's I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed, but there's a reaction from Hathaway during that argument that seems it's a good reaction. I like it from Hathaway. I'll show you what I mean rather than me blethering on and you and then trying to get to the point. Hold on.
You knew what the garden did. You knew why Will killed himself.
Did you? I'm sure you did notice it, but it's the way that Hathaway backs off when Lewis is wagging his finger, as if he thinks Lewis is going to hit him. It's a great piece of acting. Actually, it's a very simple reaction, and I don't know whether he was told to do that or that was an instinctive piece of acting from Lawrence Fox or not. Yeah, it's like he thinks he's going to get slapped, Terry, or hit, and you wonder why he did that. Did his father? I don't remember any mention of that when we meet the father later. If his father hit him or slapped him, I don't think he did. But we don't know. But it's a strange reaction. Well, not strange, but peculiar, I think, thinking he's going to get slapped or hit. I know he is. He can be. I mean, he can be a very good actor. It is very frustrating. Hello, Max. Hi. It is very frustrating. As you know, I'm so frustrated with Lawrence Fox. I just fed up with what he's doing. But yeah, it's a simple reaction, and I'd love to know if that was him. Or that was the director asked him to react in that way. I've got a feeling maybe Lawrence did it himself. That was he just felt that was a good reaction. Maybe slapped in the seminary. That's very true, Terry. That's a possibility. Being a young person that the priests would have maybe. Yeah, it's possible. You do feel that. I mean, again, we're reading a lot into this, at least I am, that there's something in his past that made him reacting that way. I mean, you would never have seen Lewis react that way with Morse. But it is an interesting little scene. I think the whole scene's fantastic. I never tire of watching it. Sure, of course. It is good, and actually, there's another little lovely reaction as well. Just in the scene where Will's on, obviously his DVD he made. Yeah, there is an element you do wonder if he's on the verge. I think he is on the verge of tears, not because of Lewis, of course, but because of what's happened with Will. But there's an interesting, again, reaction from Hathaway, I'll show you. It's where the cloth is taken off and we see Will on the screen, and it's a reaction from Hathaway. He's horrified because I think he realizes that he is about to be blamed. He's about to, be outed almost for what he did.
I'm going to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there were two men in love.
I always think that Hathaway, as I said, it's not just a shock of seeing Will. I don't think. I think it's a shock that he realizes he's going to be found out, because you see the way that everyone starts to look at him, because everyone then realizes, even Lewis, that he's the one that Will is talking about. And I think Hathaway senses this is what's coming, because you even see that Hathaway says, "Can we leave now?" So he's almost a sense that he thinks something's going to happen. So yeah, it's just you know, as I said, he thinks, or he knows, this is not good for him. That everyone's going to know what he did to poor Will when Will came out to him. So yes, it's as Bert. I mean, Bert said it's one of, not one of. I think Bert said, you said, Bert, it's your favourite episode of Lewis, and also it's the first episode you watched of the Lewis series, and what a great episode to start with. I can see why you were hooked after that, Bert. As a really strong episode, and the last 3 episodes have been strong, of course. Moonbeams, Music to Die For, and Life Born of Fire. Hello, Canoe. Welcome, Canoe. Haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, Canoe. I hope you're okay. Welcome. I'm assuming it's just life getting in the way, Canoe, as it does, and things you want to do. Life has a habit of doing that. Though just without, but I think this Sunday's episode, The Great and the Good, is the weakest of the 4 episodes in series 2. It's a solid episode, but I think it's the weakest of the 4. But of course, the wonderful thing. Oh, that's something to watch, because people were. I noticed. There's a scene when he's talking about asking Lewis if he wants to ask if he's gay or not. We won't watch that, because I know some people were unsure of Hathaway's reaction after having Lewis ask the question, but I think I know the answer to that. But let me just find that scene.
Well, okay.
What?
Are you?
What?
Are you gay?
It's if you like shoes and musicals, and straights if you read Loaded and eat Yorkie bar.
No.
And I think that's Lewis's last line, is "none of my business," is the point really Hathaway, or the writer through Hathaway, is trying to make. There shouldn't really be, it shouldn't really, it's something, there's no real point in asking, are you gay, are you trans, are you bi, are you lesbian? It shouldn't be something. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't ask it if you feel, but I think he's just trying to make the point of there's no real need to ask it. If you are, you are, and it shouldn't be. Because who asks, are you straight? No one asks that. Well, I doubt many people ask that, are you straight? So I think that's the point the writer was trying to make through Hathaway, that you really shouldn't ask that question. It should just be as is. If you are, you are, that's it. But again, the good point of how do you define gay? Even how do you define lesbian, etc. as well. So I think that's the point the writer was trying to make through Hathaway. Even though he's forcing Lewis to ask the question, but that was the reason, just to get to that point, that it's none of his business. It comes down to it. It's no one's business what sexuality you are. Does the answer matter? No, it doesn't, Gretchen. It doesn't matter at all. And I doubt it would matter, as Lewis does say later in the episode. He's thinking about Will's father, who, of course, Will's father disowned him. And Lewis, of course, says, and I'm paraphrasing, that if his son came out as gay, it wouldn't bother him. It's that sort of thing. I think Lewis would just hope he's happy. James says, towards the beginning, when Hathaway told Lewis Will was gay, after they met Will's dad, perhaps Lewis should have asked, with Hathaway's religious background, what was his view or opinion of his friend's sexuality. Had Hathaway ever discussed it with Will? But I suppose I'm talking with hindsight. It's a good point, James. When Hathaway told Lewis Will was gay, Yeah, that's a good point, James. Maybe Lewis should have asked. Yeah, you probably. It's a good point, James. It's possible that would have made sense, or maybe Lewis just thought it was too personal a question to ask. In the same way, he's thinking about not asking if he's gay because it's personal as well. But it is a personal situation. Can you agree? I mean, it's the subplot in this episode, with the allotment, the gardening, and David Ryle. I mean, it's not. I mean, you could take it out, and the episode wouldn't lose a lot. But I like it. But if you did take it out, the episode wouldn't lose a lot. I'm glad it was included. I like seeing David Ryle again. I mean, I think it was just trying to make the point that Lewis couldn't retire. Too hard to retire. And I don't think he could do something as mundane and apologise to gardeners as gardening or growing vegetables. But I think he just needed that little conversation with the gardener David Ryle played, just to make him to see sense, to bring him to focus. I think that was the idea of the allotment subplot, to allow Lewis to focus on what's right for him, what makes him happy. But it was nice. It was. Terry, I wonder if there were any mannerisms that we missed that gave away the masculinity of Rachel's character, since she really wasn't transsexual. Well, I wonder if she was chosen because of her voice, because that's Rachel Stirling's actual voice. She wasn't putting anything on. So I wonder if that was one reason why they chose her, apart from being a good actress and gorgeous, because her voice is quite deep, so you could say it's a little bit masculine. So I wonder if that was one of the reasons why they chose her. Was the gardening also along the lines of Lewis looking for a hobby or an interest? Now he's a widower. Yeah, I think there was certainly that was part of it. But I think he mentioned it was a sort of idea for what he could do when he retired. Yeah, of course, that's right. He was dabbling with the Open University, James. That's right. It's a very good thing, the Open University in the UK. James, Zoe had suddenly appeared in Oxford over the last 6 months. Was it? I believe so, James. And James drags us back into the episode. He's doing his shepherding. James continues, yet had not been around when Fiedeke Phelan had been present. That's one of the only clues, I suppose. Yeah, I could find suggesting they could be one and the same, which they were, of course, as well as the Brazilian flag, etc. Although nobody realised why Fiedeke had gone to Brazil and apparently not come back, which is true. And because they never really, definitely, I don't think they ever said definitely he went to Brazil, did they? Because I don't know, did Will go to Brazil? I'm trying to think now. Fiedeke went to get all the surgery done in the hope that that would help Will to be with her or him, because really, I mean, underneath he was still Fiedeke. Will had paid a lot of money out of his bank account, and it's later confirmed that all went to Fiedeke. Yes, for the surgery. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing to do to try and help, because I mean, Fiedeke, that's an amazing thing that Fiedeke did to help Will, really, because that's what it's mainly Fiedeke did that for, to make Will feel safer in a relationship with Fideker if Fideker was a woman. It's an amazing thing to go through. It showed you how much Fideker loved Will. I can't remember who said to me, I think, was it you, James, said that maybe Fideker, i.e. Zoe, at the end did have feelings for James. I think that happened. I think she fell for James, but her anger and hate was just too strong to overcome that. But I think she did fall for James. Oh yeah, I think we need to put, absolutely, Terry, we did need to put, yeah, there was a few clues out there. That's for that. It wasn't enough for me, that's for sure, to see where it was going until near the end. Carlin, I think Zoe did want Hathaway. Yeah, I think so, Carlin. I think she had fell for him.
I really like you, James.
James, where did Will get the money from? Well, yeah, yeah. Can we never know? Because we don't think we ever heard of Will had a job. You got to assume he did. You got to assume his mother's fairly wealthy as well. So I can only assume it's whatever job he was working in, and from his mother as well. But we never, I don't think we ever hear that he had a job or anything like that. At the gay club, I think everyone wanted Hathaway, yes. I think, I missed something. What was this? What did it tell you? We think if someone did, hold on. Terry said, I would think if someone did that for another person, that person should try to stay alive and care for him to repay. Yeah, so who was asking about, so why did he kill himself? I think he was still just so confused. And unfortunately, it would seem that Will couldn't accept Zoe or couldn't accept Fideker as a woman. He was just so mixed up and obviously depressed. Because a lot of gay people do kill themselves because of those things. So that's, I think that's the reason Will still couldn't accept Fideker as Fideker and couldn't accept Fideker as Zoe, and just thought it was he couldn't live on. And of course it didn't help, of course, his father denouncing him as well, and no longer being part of his life, so that wouldn't have helped his father hating him as well. Terry, but I think Will, although a sympathetic character, was pretty self-centered to let someone make such a sacrifice, so it was all about him. Well, I don't think, personally, I don't think he was self-centered, Terry. As I said, he was just very, very mixed up, very unhappy, very lonely, even though he had friends. It seems good friends. I think it just all got too much for him. A lot of guilt, I think, as well. Maybe guilt about paying for Fideker. Maybe even he pushed Fideker as well to get the sex change and felt guilty about that. So, yeah, I think it's a mix of a lot of things why he ended up killing himself. And maybe Will, because of what Will did with the DVD, send the various DVDs to friends to let them know what happened to him with Lawrence and the garden. Maybe this was Will's way of that his life couldn't make him happy. He couldn't make sense of it. But maybe he thought he couldn't find a purpose for his life. But maybe he thought there was a purpose in his death to show what the garden had done to him and what Lawrence had done to him. Of course, Will wouldn't have known that Fideker would kill all the members of the Garden, of course. I think Will would have hoped that they would have been vilified for what they did to Will and other gay people as well, because he had no idea, you have to assume, that Fideker was going to kill them all. Yeah, Bert's right. Will is definitely not religious anymore. That's why he destroys the statue of Christ and then defaces the altar with his blood and his brains as well, you have to imagine, shooting himself through the head. So yeah, he's definitely no part of religion in any shape or form. James is going to play devil's advocate. Okie dokie. If Hathaway had come clean right away to Lewis, and if they had uncovered quickly the members of the Garden partly responsible for Will's suicide, could any of them been prosecuted? No. Hathaway, of course, was also slightly to blame. Well, I think a little bit more than slightly. But yes, I think more than slightly. But no, there's nothing they could be prosecuted for. They could be vilified via newspapers for using the religious group, the Garden, to try and make gay people straight. But no, I don't believe James was anything they could be prosecuted for. They didn't do anything illegal. Just stupid, just ridiculous, and thinking you can turn gay people straight, which unfortunately there are groups like that in the world, unfortunately.
Listen, Bible in pride of place. Still believed.
James is assuming because of the Bible that he is still religious, but we know he's not. James is just making assumptions.
No.
Or Sunday, I've got maybe a bit longer. I've got a Bible in the house, but I'm far from religious. As I said, it was my mum's Bible, and I couldn't throw it out. Haven't played that for a little while, so I thought that would do that for you, James. This connection is Hathaway falls victim to Morse's curse, falling in love or being attracted to the wrong person. Very true, James. Good connection. And then James goes on to say, someone mentioned on Sunday, it may have been Masonic, Lady Hugh is a tenuous connection to Joyce Pettibone. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're very cut from the same cloth, I think, those two. Both are reactionary, social conservatives on a moral crusade to stamp out new forms of social liberalism. Yeah, they're definitely cut from the same cloth, James. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, Kiki. We get a lot more of Hathaway, which is very interesting. Very much so. We're saying that about, we learn why, the real reason he left the priesthood. We'll learn a little bit more about when he was younger. And more about actually, it sort of pins him down in some way to how he is now in regards to religion. I mean, he may be still religious, but certainly doesn't have those kind of thoughts that being gay is wrong, etc. He's learned that, at least.
Six o'clock.
Has anyone ever eaten a Yorkie bar? Of course, they're a big seller. So one of my favourites is Yorkie bar. So yeah, thank you everyone for being here tonight. It's been a very good discussion. I think I need to put this together as a video to put on YouTube on my website. And that'll give lots of other people a chance to see what we were talking about. So yeah, Sunday, as I said, is the last episode of the second series, The Great and the Good. I'm looking forward to see what people have to say about that episode, because you all know it's not one of my favourites. I think it's the weaker episode of series 2. So take care, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the week. Have a lovely weekend as well. I'll see you Sunday. 8 p.m. of course, still British summertime. I think another month of British summertime, then we go to Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you on Sunday. Good night.